Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and before we get started, please hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel. We just hit 21.5k. Can we get to 22k? Please subscribe and like the video before we get started. Today we're going to be doing Donald Trump versus Bernie Sanders 2020 election prediction, how the map would look, plus additional analysis. So bottom line, I do think that Bernie Sanders is the Democrats' weakest link when it comes to policy. However, he has a strong point that not a lot of other candidates have. He has a very rabid fan base, but it wasn't enough to beat Hillary Clinton in the 2016 Democrat primary. Now he is 4 years older. It's not going to look well for somebody who had a heart attack last month. Health concerns, far-left policy concerns are not going to help Bernie Sanders when it comes down to the electorate. But needless to say, he should not necessarily get ultimately destroyed in the election. But I think that the county map might look a little different because I think Trump and Sanders would do a little bit better with different demographics. Bernie would run it up in the college towns. However, Trump would do much better in the suburbs against somebody like Bernie Sanders and the people that were not necessarily okay with Donald Trump's personal life, might be a little bit more inclined to vote for him over Bernie Sanders' economic policies that they think would bankrupt the country. Now, if you are a Bernie Sanders supporter, that's fine, but just know and just understand that a lot of people don't like the policies. I don't want to see people in the comments saying that there's 70% of Republicans support health care for all, but then you look at the actual poll, doesn't mention how they're going to pay for it. And if you look at the individual policy plans Sanders has proposed, some propositions that he supported back in California in the 2016 election, well below 30% support. So he's not necessarily the great candidate. There's quite a bit of dirt on him, and we'll get into that a little bit as we fill out the map. So we're actually just going to go state by state here. Sanders would do well in Maine's 1st district. I actually think he would win the state of Maine. He is from the Northeast, but I do think that Donald Trump would still win Maine's 2nd district. Bernie Sanders would win New Hampshire. He would win it by a lean margin because you have the twin state thing with Vermont and all these states down here. Well, actually, New Jersey would be likely. Not that Trump would have a chance to win it, but in the chance that Trump could have a chance to lose it by less than 10 percentage points because it's just not the best look for Bernie Sanders. In the state of New Jersey and Delaware, Maryland and D.C. should remain in the safe column. Virginia, I think, will go to Donald Trump, actually. I think a lot of people in the militias down there, Bernie Sanders is cancer for the state of Virginia. He's just not the best for those voters there, the college-educated voters that have flipped the state from a red state to a blue state. The North Virginia Nova establishment, they're not fans of Bernie Sanders. They were fans of Hillary Clinton. They will probably be fans of Joe Biden, but Bernie Sanders is just cancer for the state, and I think Trump would narrowly pull off the state of Virginia. North Carolina, well, North Carolina would, it would be, I want to say likely. Bernie Sanders, being an atheist, is going to be cancer for the South. He's not going to turn out black voters as much. He wants late-term abortion. He wants terrorists to have the right to vote. These aren't necessarily things that play out well with typical Democrats. And Georgia would be likely with Bernie. Arkansas, Louisiana, and Missouri are safe. Indiana is safe. West Virginia is safe. Ohio is likely. Iowa, let's be honest, guys, it's going to be likely. Bernie doesn't necessarily have the exact rural appeal that his base likes to claim that he does. Wisconsin would be razor thin because of the fanboys in Madison for Bernie, but Michigan, I think, would also tilt into Donald Trump's column. And Pennsylvania, Bernie did terrible there in the primary last time around. He would get destroyed in the state. Let's be honest. Let's not fool ourselves. But Minnesota, being the state they are, is going to go for Bernie Sanders just because the fanboys in Minneapolis, it's a state that loves weirdos, and Bernie will turn out his base there enough to win the state. Florida, Bernie is such repellent that it might actually go likely now that it is Donald Trump's home state. Oklahoma, Kansas, the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, and Utah, all safe for Donald Trump. All of Nebraska, the 2nd District, the Bernie bro candidate there got shellacked in the midterms, so you want to put it in the likely column. Go ahead, Trump can make gains among traditional conservatism and do very well with the Romney-Clinton voters. I think he would be able to bring a lot of them back if he was running against Bernie Sanders, which would give him the popular vote because he would do well getting 38, 39% in even a state like California, which will go to Bernie Sanders, by the way. State of Texas, I think that would go to Trump safe. You had Greg Abbott run against a Bernie bro last time, and they ran 11 points behind Beto. The Hispanic vote was much more evenly split compared to the Ted Cruz election, where Greg Abbott lost the Hispanic vote by 10 points. I think Trump would get 40% with Hispanics if he ran against Bernie, because Bernie voted to dump all of Vermont's nuclear waste into a Hispanic community in West Texas. That's not going to be a good talking point when it comes down to it for Bernie Sanders. So Texas, I believe, is going to go for Donald Trump. Colorado, you got a lot of Bernie bros there. I think that they would keep this state in the lean column, but it could be a liability for John Hickenlooper to lose to Cory Gardner. Now, as for the state of Arizona, Trump would win that safe. You want to talk about the suburbs? The whole state is the suburb. Trump would win it by 10 points. And a lot of people watching this will be confused. I've seen polls that had him up by over 10, polls that had him up by 12. David Garcia lost to Doug Ducey, a pro-Trump governor, and Garcia lost by, I believe, 14 or 15 points. This would unite conservatives in Arizona. Trump would do better among Latinos. He'd win Arizona. He would tilt New Mexico, toting his policies. Alaska would win for Trump. Hawaii would go for the Democrats. Oregon and Washington would go for Bernie. That's Bernie country as well. Nevada, who I think Trump could lose it to Biden, will tilt against Bernie because Clark County is necessarily all the suburbs of the state are in Clark County. Bernie is not going to do well among Hispanic voters. Bernie's not going to do well among white suburban voters. This is a problem for the Sanders campaign, and it's a problem that I don't think they realize because they're in their own little bubble. But I do think that Donald Trump would beat Bernie Sanders convincingly, and the map would look slightly different. People asking, why is New Mexico and Nevada red? Why is not New Hampshire, Maine, or Minnesota? Because it looks like against Biden you have those trends that could flip those states. Well, Bernie could do well up here. Bernie's not going to be able to do well in these states that have large suburban centers. And while he will win those areas, he will not win them by the margins even Hillary Clinton won them. He will win them by probably, one could argue, less margins than Barack Obama did against Mitt Romney. And that's going to be an issue because Democrats are going to have to win this election through the suburbs. They're going to have to flip Arizona. They're going to have to flip potentially one of the Rust Belt states and Georgia to do it, in my opinion. It's not going to be, their map is not necessarily beneficial to them. Their point should be to just take the knee and wait till 2028 and beyond because they'll have enough demographic favorability in the state of Arizona, Texas, and Georgia to make a run for those states in the future, and they concede states like Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Maine. But that's my view of what the Democrat strategy should be. It really shouldn't be to win, but when you have the deep state and the far left, or not necessarily the far left, but the deep state in general, the corruption that goes on in Washington coming out in a full swing against Trump, you have the media coming out in full swing against Trump. They're going to try to win it, and they're going to want to win it. But in terms of long-term electoral projections, long-term electoral trends, it's beneficial for the Democrats to just take a knee. And for Republicans, it's beneficial that they do well with younger voters. I'd like to see Republican plans on health care. I'd like to see Republican plans on student loans and immigration. If they can address those issues in a way that could be beneficial to the younger people, they will have a sustainable party. If they're able to show that they're able to conserve something, conserving family values, which may be necessarily a big issue in a lot of the Hispanic community, they can do better among Hispanic voters in the future. As you can see what Bush did in 2004, doing very well talking about the issue of abortion and airing anti-abortion ads on the Spanish radio network, and he almost won the Hispanic vote, and he won the popular vote by 4 or 5 points. So it's something that we're necessarily going to have to see in the future of what happens for elections, because the parties could look entirely different. You could see a Tucker Carlson center-left wing economic populist Republican Party platform that would be able to build on Trump and necessarily win states like Minnesota and then dip into Democrat gains in Oregon and Washington, and maybe it would necessarily have enough of this economic populism to bring minorities to the party, and we'll necessarily see where the future takes us. But if it's going to be Trump against Sanders, that's going to be a very interesting thing to see, and a lot of disaffected people in the middle will either vote third party or flock to Trump. And if there's a third party, I can see New Hampshire, Maine, potentially New Jersey, Colorado, Minnesota easily going for the Republican. And I think that states in the Midwest like Michigan and Wisconsin could be a even deeper divide, because I think Bernie would do better in Wisconsin than Biden because of anti-elite sentiment in a lot of the rural parts of the Midwest. That's what gave rise to Trump in the first place. But that's the prediction. Donald Trump 330, Bernie 208. Thanks everybody for watching. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel and join the Discord, join the Patreon, follow me on social media, links in description. Thanks everybody for watching. Red Eagle out.